A couple years ago, I played a soundbite of a city council or city manager who was being very, well, he was being recorded. He just didn't know it. He didn't think it'd ever get back to the city. And he said, I just think it's great that our city people pay all these taxes. They don't mind. It's just great. Keep dragging up the taxes. I'm justifying it. It's okay. Let them pay more taxes. They like it. So I got the little soundbite, being the rascal that I am. I played it on the air, and the people in Friendswood, Texas went wow. One of which was Chris Peden, who was driving to work one day, sets his jaw, and he says, this isn't going to stand for me. And he runs for the city council. He wins. 2 cycles later, guess what? They got 2 more conservatives on there, now that makes 4. They fire the city manager, they fire the mayor, and they rebate to the people of Friendswood the additional surplus in the city budget. And the people of Friendswood got checked. And that's what I would call leadership, and that's what I would call being sold out to the principles to represent the people. That's what told me everything I need to know about Chris Peden. Chris Peden now wants to do what he did there in Washington, D.C., and we need it. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, may I introduce to you the next congressman from the 14th District, my friend, Chris Peden.
Thank you, Ed. Boy, I'm tired. I want to say a lot of thank yous today. There are a lot of people in this room that have put a lot on the line to see me get elected. My opponent is, he runs a very hard race. I'm not going to bash him, but boy, he's adamant about winning re-election. And he plays for keeps and doesn't take any prisoners. And there are people in this room that have sacrificed politically to even be here. And win or lose, I'm going to tell you, I won't forget it. My dad and mom are here, and I come from a long line of people that stand on their word. You don't catch Pedens telling they'll do something. Now I'm notoriously late with what I promise. I do deliver, and I won't forget it. I went to church in Clue 2 weeks ago, and a lady came up to me and she said, I didn't really know who you were, but this little lady in this blue Peden shirt met me in the store, and she starts describing Margaret Williams. And she said, she was like a little cheerleader for you. She was just everywhere. And she just convinced me that I had to vote for you. And there's Anita, who was working, and Marvin, Deanne. The words can't express what you guys mean to me. Phyllis is here. Onslow has been here since January of last year. Onslow he's kind of a sucker, to be honest with you. He comes to me and says he wants me to run for political office, and he's thinking something in the county, maybe state senate, state rep, and he's talking to me, and I said, I'm not interested in those. I want to go to Congress. He said, yeah, boy, just think dream on. And then Roxanne is like the Energizer Bunny of all the Energizers. She just never stops. She keeps going all the time. She's at the office nonstop. And it's just, people write letters to Kellogg's and Greens. I just see people in this room, and I'm going to miss a lot of people. And then Ryan and all of his friends are just like young, crazy guys. And then I've got this guy that drives all over the district in this little white beat-up Toyota truck that I rejected, by the way. It's my hand-me-down truck. And Mark Rife has put signs up in places that, and he's put signs back up. I got to tell a little side story here. My wife and Mark have spent the last 3 weeks replacing signs. They didn't put any new signs up, pretty much. We just replaced the ones that they're taking. And they're stealing close to 100 signs a night. So last night my wife came home and she was just furious, and she's just having a meltdown about signs. So it's about 1:45 and the phone rings, and I just said, oh, not again, because we had gotten rid of all the prank calls, and I thought, not again. And then I thought, oh my Lord, my son's not here, so maybe it's problems. And so I answered the phone. I looked at the caller ID, and it was a local number, and this fellow says, is this Chris Peden. And, who is this? And he said, well, I just wanted to know, we were coming home from the high school, and we saw 2 trucks of young men stealing your signs. And we had descriptions of the vehicle and the license plate number. And the Friendswood Police Department have incarcerated 8 young men for stealing Peden signs. There were no other campaign signs in those vehicles besides one. So I have told, in fact, members of my staff came up and said, hey, Chris, are you ever going to unleash us to put signs everywhere? Just put them in the right way, put them everywhere. And I just said no. And I'm going to tell you why I said that. Because there is, I believe, I'm not the greatest Christian in the world, and I don't always live up to every tenet in the Scripture. I try very hard to do that, but I fall short. But there is a Scripture that says, if you know what's right and you do it not, it's a sin. And we know the right thing is to not put your signs in the right of way. We're not putting Peden signs in the right of way. And if you see one in the right of way, pull it up, put it in your trunk, and then let me know. We don't put signs in the right of way. It's against the law. And I'm not going to run a campaign that way.